After extensive playtesting on the new patches and talking to high-low players from around the world, I've compiled my learnings about the new smites into this video for you guys. We're going to be talking about everything from the basics all the way down to the in-depth knowledge I've learned from how to use the smites effectively and when to pick different smites. So I'm Udysof, and let's get into it. So to kick things off, we actually have to talk about what the new 3 smites are. So the first one we're going to be talking about is the red smite, and this is going to be focused on damage. This is the damage smite. So it says collect ember stacks over time or by killing monsters up to 100. Damaging a champion with 100 ember stacks slows the enemy by 30%, decaying over 2 seconds, and burns them for 4% maximum health true damage over 4 seconds. So that's a lot of words because Riot Games loves to fill us up with information, but simply put, when you smite someone with the red smite, they will be slowed by 30% and they will also take 4% maximum health true damage. Now, if you're confused about this 100 stacks thing, it's very, very simple. If you ever think about rapid fire cannon, you know, when you walk around and it goes up to 100, or chem tank, for example, as well, you have to walk around and it scales up to 100 charges. That is the exact same for this smite. Something to keep in mind is that you can actually smite again before the 100 stacks come up. This just means you're going to have a weakened version of the smite, something similar to last season's blue smite. It is going to do a 20% movement speed reduction on the enemy, and it is going to do a little bit less damage. So it's a weakened version of the red smite if you do it before 100 stacks. So now that's the red smite out of the way, let's go on to the next, which is our blue smite. And the blue smite is going to be our speed themed smite. So it says gain 45% movement speed, decaying over 2 seconds upon entering a brush, and then it is increased to 60% when killing large monsters. So you get a bunch of movement speed when you kill a large monster, and also when you're in bushes, you get 2 seconds of movement speed. Outside of it, it decays over time. Now, something to take into note here with the blue smite is that makes it really good is the fact that you get this movement speed while you can be in combat. So you can be fighting someone with this movement speed, dodging skill shots, dodging in and out of bushes, and it will maintain. It is really good. Most movement speed buffs like this don't work in combat, so this is going to be really unique. This is the first time I think I've seen something like this in the game. So really, really good. Keep your eye on this blue smite as well. I think it is one of the best right now. And then the third and final thing is the green smite, the tank and tenacity smite. So it says killing monsters grants a permanent 75 to 330 health shield, and the shield also regenerates after 10 seconds out of combat. While shielded this way and for 3 seconds after the shield breaks, gain 20% tenacity and slow resistance. So as I said, this is our tank tenacity rune. You're going to be taking this on a lot of bruiser type champions, obviously tank type champions, even something a little bit more squishy. I might see an Ivern take this, something that needs that shield in fights. This is going to be a really, really nice smite for a lot of wide varying different champions, and I think a lot of champions are going to alternate between these 3 smites. I don't see one smite being necessary on every single champion. I think it can change and I think it can alternate. So I'm interested to see how it progresses over the year and we see what champions are taking different kinds of smites. So now that we've learned about the smites, let's actually get into how we get these smites. So the way you're going to get your red, blue, and green smite in game is through an evolution system. So League of Legends has basically turned their game into Pokemon, and now they are giving you a pet in game which follows you around. So as a jungler, at the start of the game, you have an option of getting the red egg, the blue egg, and the green egg. And throughout the game, as you kill more and more jungle camps, this egg, this little fella, will evolve into a medium-sized guy, and it will give you a new smite, the rainbow smite. This smite is basically blue smite from last season. It will slow the enemy by 20%, and it also will deal 900 damage to camps, and then a little bit of damage depending on scaling and levels. It'll deal a little bit of damage to enemy champions. And then as you progress further throughout the game, killing more camps, you will then eventually evolve into the red smite, the blue smite, or the green smite, depending on what egg you have chosen. Something for you guys to take note of as well is the basic smite now does 600 damage level 1. As you scale throughout the game, it is going to go to 900 damage, and then finally it is going to finish up at 1200. I think Riot probably saw Pyosik lose too many smites to ADCs at Worlds.
Kuma, can he steal it? Kuma will have to fire
They decided to give junglers the most smite we've ever seen in the game, up at 1200. That's what the final level cap is at, 1200 damage in the final form. So that's about it for the evolution system. If you guys are a little bit confused, don't worry, we're going to go into an in-game example right now where I'm going to detail the exact timings and when you should be expecting to evolve to the medium level and obviously the final level of these smites. So let's take a look at that. All right guys, so now we're in game. Here are the 3 eggs that you can choose from: red smite, blue smite, and green smite. We're just going to use green smite here for an example, and you're going to see here that we have the little green pet next to me. And now let's go kill a camp and showcase how this influences our item. Okay, so you can see here guys that next to my jungle item it says 40. So every time we kill a camp, it is going to go down by 1. So I'm going to kill this camp, and now that I killed this camp, it is going to go down to 39. So every time you kill a camp, this number is going to decrease, and we want to bring that number down to 20 when it will evolve to the medium smite, and then 0 when it will evolve into the main powerful green smite. Now, something else I want to explain to you guys is the bonus treats. Every 60 seconds, you gain a bonus treat. So when you kill a monster, instead of this number decreasing by 1, it will decrease by 2. And you get one of these treats again every 60 seconds, every 1 minute. Also, when you use one of these treats up, you get a bonus 50 gold when you kill a camp. So that's just a really nice added on bonus. So I'm going to kill these Krugs now to just showcase to you how this works, because we have 1 snack in our inventory. All right, so now I'm going to smite the Krug, and now it's going to go from 39 to 37. So just showing that now the snack has decreased and we have used it. We also got bonus 50 gold. Okay guys, so I've just skipped ahead here and I'm on 21 stacks. I've got the normal smite still. I'm going to now kill this wolf camp for you guys, and we are going to go and get the new smite. So now we've gone to 19 and we have unlocked the rainbow smite. Now this smite is going to be just like blue smite from last season. It'll slow an enemy and it'll do some true damage. So I'm just going to show you here on a target enemy dummy here. I can now smite this guy a bunch. I've got it on infinite cooldown, but you can see you can smite the dummy. And now it's also going to do 900 damage. So let's skip ahead to the final smite now. Okay guys, so now we are on 1 stack. I'm just going to beat down this Gromp here. Gonna smite it one more time and we're gonna go down to 0. We lose the item and now we have the primal smite. Now primal smite, you don't actually get a bonus on the smite except for the fact that it does 1200 true damage to monsters and also half of that to nearby monsters, so an AoE damage. So that's just how the smites work. Hope that made sense to you guys, and now let's continue on with the rest of the video. So a few of my students have asked me, when should I actually be getting my evolved smites? Like, what time should I be aiming for? So I've gone ahead here and I've actually made a little bit of a list explaining when you should be getting those smites. So the first thing I want you guys to know is the fastest you can complete your jungle pet smite is by 14 minutes, but this is without invading. So around 14 minutes, if you full clear permanently, only full clearing, then you can get your final upgraded smite at 14 minutes. So these are timers that you should be aiming for to complete your pet evolution and get that final smite. So between 14 and 16 minutes, I would say is very, very good. If you can get between 17 to 19 minutes, that's about average. I'd still be aiming closer to 17, 16. I think that's a really good range. And then if you are evolving your smite post 20 minutes, this is way too slow. So you need to improve your farming. This means you're over skirmishing, you're over fighting, and you're just not taking enough camps. This is very rare. I haven't really seen anyone do this in my games at this point. So really take a focus of that. So now with that covered, let's continue further on to talking about these smites a little bit more in detail. So something a lot of people struggle with is the question of, what smite do I actually choose? Do I choose the blue smite with the speed? Do I go damage with red smite? Or do I go green with tenacity and tank stats? Now, there is no one good choice. There is so many variables in the game. Team composition, champion matchup. There are so many things that go into choosing the correct smite, so I can only give you an overview and some ideas of what champions would be good with specific smites. So if you take a look here on screen, I've got some examples of champions that would do really well with these smites. So let's take a look at the first one, which is Evelynn, Hecarim, Nidalee, Udyr, and Echo. They all do really well with the blue smite in general. And why is this? Well, Evelynn, Echo, Nidalee, they're assassin type champions. They like to move around the map very very fast, they do really well with the movement speed. Hecarim's a very specific champion because the movement speed he gets from the smite actually gives him bonus damage due to his passive, so it's really nice on him. And then Udyr is just another champion that loves to run around, abuse movement speed, and chase people down. He doesn't have dashes, he doesn't have anything, so he really values that extra movement speed. So if we take a look at the red smite abusers, the red smite champions are champions like Vi, Lee Sin, Wukong, Graves, Jarvan. These champions that want to scrap early. These champions that might need a little bit of damage to help them out throughout the game. I'm thinking Jarvan's just jumped in on an ADC and he needs a little bit of extra damage to kill the enemy. Wukong too, Lee Sin, Graves, all of these duelist champions really like that extra damage. And then finally going over to the green smite, this is probably the most interesting one. This one is the most unique. And I'm looking at champions like Darius Mordekaiser. Now, why would they be in the jungle in the first place? Well, due to the jungle changes, it is really easy for champions to clear the jungle now. So a lot of new champions we're going to be seeing in the jungle. And I think Darius and Mordekaiser could be some of the better ones. We've already seen Mord in the jungle anyways. So why these two champions up here at the top in the first place? Well, tenacity. Tenacity is the big one because you can take Ghost in the jungle, Ghost and Smite, and you can take that tenacity on that green egg of yours, and you're going to be able to just run opponents down. They can't CC you, they can't slow you down as much because you have so much tenacity and slow resistance. It's going to be super good on these champions. Then we've got other champions down here, the classic tanks, Sejuani, Zac, Maokai. They're all going to benefit from having extra defensive stats. They're all going to benefit from having extra defensive stats, and they're going to thrive off those. So it's very cookie cutter. It's very basic. But ultimately, from this slide and this part of the video, guys, I want you guys to take away that these smites are very interchangeable. I want you to look at Jarvan, and you could very much see Jarvan in this green section here because he likes to jump in and he likes the tenacity and the defensive stats for engaging. Same with Wukong, same for Vi. They could all do really well with this green smite. Jarvan could also do well with the blue smite. Same with Wukong, same with Vi, Graves as well. All of them could really benefit, as well as Lee Sin, from this blue smite. The extra movement speed so Vi can engage, Wukong can engage, Jarvan can engage, Graves can chase people down. All of these smites are very interchangeable. Evelynn, Hecarim, Nidalee, Echo, Udyr could all use this red smite. They could use extra damage in some specific situations. So I want you guys to start thinking critically of how you're playing the game. What is your play style? What is your champion? And how does it interact with the whole game? Does it do well into the enemy team comp? Do you need to be engaging? Do you need to be counter engaging? Do you need to be skirmishing in the river, jumping through brushes? It is very volatile on what smite you should be taking. I don't think there is one smite for one champion. I think all champions can use different smites. Some champions might use one smite 90% of the time, but there are going to be specific games where you need to change it up. So this is what you guys need to take away from this slide. This is the generalization of the smites, but don't be afraid to switch it up and experiment in your games and try different things out. So the final thing that we need to talk about is the new interactions that Smite brings to the game. All the niche little updates that are hidden in Riot's patch notes. I'm going to bring them out here and just give them to you as the basics. So the first one that you need to know is the fact that Smite item gives you 30% reduced damage from epic monsters while 2 or more allied champions are nearby. If you have 2 allies near you, you're going to be taking less damage from dragons, barons, heralds. So when you're doing them early, when you don't have many tank stats, it's going to be essential to have teammates nearby so you don't lose too much health and potentially die to the baron, especially in the early game. The next thing that you guys need to know is the fact that you get bonus gold and XP from killing camps. All camps give less gold, and Krugs and Scuttle also give less XP. So this is primarily a nerf for laners. When you see your laners killing your camps, ping them off. Say, back off, don't take it in a lot of scenarios if you can actually kill that camp, because now it is even worse for laners to take those camps with the reduction of gold and XP on Krugs and Scuttle. So the third thing that you guys need to know is the fact that Smite now starts at 600 damage, but camps now have more HP. So I've already mentioned that it does 600 damage to camps, but this is because camps have more HP. So again, it is going to be worse for your laners to take, but this is also compensated by the bonus damage from your pet. So your jungle pet is going to be doing bonus damage with you to enemy camps and, well, your own camps as well, and it is going to help you secure them. So in the early game, it's going to be even harder for laners to take camps. And for the fourth thing we need to talk about is the fact that every champion can now jungle. So this is specific for people who are probably off role. If you're watching this video and you're not actually a jungle main and you don't play many meta junglers, don't be afraid to bring your champion from mid lane, ADC, top lane, wherever it is, bring it into the jungle role. It can probably clear now. Season 13 with the new pets allows you to clear camps pretty easily on most champions. I saw my buddy who's a Sylas one trick today. He played jungle Sylas and it looked fantastic. Sylas used to be a good jungler anyways, so now Sylas is probably going to be pretty hot in Season 13, so don't be afraid to bring your champion into the jungle. We've even seen Blitzcrank it towards the end of Season 12 be good, so just do whatever you want. Season 13 is going to be wild. For the fifth one, Crab spawns at 3 minutes 30. This isn't specific to the new Smite, but just something that you guys should keep in mind is the fact that most champions finish their clear around 3 minutes 15 to 3 minutes 30 anyways, and the Crab used to spawn at 3:15. So some champions would struggle to get the Crab as it spawns, but now most champions are going to get to Crab as it spawns or even before it spawns. 3 minute 30 spawn, something to keep in mind depending on your champion. The next thing is the fact that the final Smite upgrade does 1200 damage, but the thing I didn't mention before is the fact that it does AoE damage to camps. It's not very prevalent because by the time you probably get that Smite, you're going to be one-shotting camps anyways, but it is something to keep in mind. It will do AoE damage, so it's going to help you clear wolves, raptors, krugs a little bit faster. And then the final thing to take note of is the fact that all pets at the medium level, the old blue Smite, which is now the rainbow Smite. I've mentioned it before, but just to reiterate, it now does 900 damage to camps and it slows the enemy by 20%. Now that might get changed and maybe get hotfixed or updated or whatever, but 20% as of now and doing 900 damage. So these are all the features that I want you guys to take away from the update, the new Season 13 Smite. So if you guys have any more questions or you think I missed anything, let me know down in the comments below. If you have any questions, you need help deciding what Smites you should be picking on specific champions, feel free to ask me. I answer all the questions that you guys put down there. So thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.